welcome to this special edition of Hey Kentucky, as we are going to preview the 2019 UK football season, and you don't want to hear from me, so that's why we brought the experts along. Three former Wildcats, Jeremy Caudle, Austin McGinnis, Ricky Lumpkin. Thank you guys all for being here. I know coming off a 10-win season, we're still really, really fired up. But we had some key losses, so we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the returners on the roster and some new guys, and then we're going to run down the schedule, talk about the biggest games, the ones that will mean the most as we go through this year, and then we'll give our predictions at the end of the show. Plus, Drew Franklin is going to catch up with the big dog, Vince Marrow, in just a few minutes. But let's get started with this year's team. We lost a couple of guys in Benny Snell and Josh Allen.
Couple of guys.
Yeah, they were pretty good. I feel better about about the running game than I do about losing Josh Allen, because he was such a special talent. But if you guys, especially the two, defensive linemen here, can talk about what's coming back, because with TJ Carter, Boogie Watson, we've got a good defensive line, I think.
We have a great defensive line. I don't think you can replace a Josh Allen, but you look at the overall depth, the horses we can roll in. You have Quentin Bohanna starting, followed by Marquand McCall, TJ Carter, Calvin Taylor. You have young guys, Davion Hawkins, Jaquavion Mahone. You have the talent and the backups there to where you shouldn't lose a step. I don't think they're going to lose a step at all.
Yeah, I mean, you've got some size up front. You've got some meat that you can put there in the middle. They get a push. I think a lot of times last year they were getting a push, and that was helping Josh make his plays, albeit Josh did some things that most people would not have been able to. You've got Boogie out there on the side. We're going to see what he can do this year, and then we got Pascal coming back, healthy, hopefully ready to roll and not missing anything. So I'm impressed with what we got up front, and there's some guys behind them that can play too.
And what a story Josh Pascal has been. I mean, he's going to be starting this season off cancer-free.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, just shout out to Josh for going through what he's been through, and incredible. Still going to school, classes, and football, and just being a leader. So my hat's off to him.
Absolutely. All right, let's look at the other side of the line, because I think that's a huge strength too. We've got Landon Young back, and he is enormous. You've seen him, Ricky, because you work over there, but I mean, he took this injury and this setback, and I think he's really turned it into something.
He's taken advantage of it, actually. The size he's put on, the weight he's lost, the good weight he's lost, the muscle he's put on, the strength, his agility. You could tell he took his offseason seriously, knowing that he missed out on an entire year, and he doesn't have any regrets at all. You're looking at a potential All-American, first team All-American, even a potential first-round pick down the road in Landon Young.
And not to mention, we've got Drake Jackson, we've got Logan Stenberg, both Logan getting all sorts of accolades preseason as well as Drake. So that's why I feel better about the running game, because you've got blockers up there.
Yeah, I mean, you look at our offensive line this year and you say there is an SEC caliber offensive line. Size, movement, some experience. We've got some juniors, especially on the left side, going across there. And again, I think Landon Young put on some really good weight. I saw him last year right after his injury. He was looking a little down, a little thin, but we talked just briefly. We kind of talked about getting in the offseason and taking it to his advantage. He really did.
So another guy that took this offseason and I think made a lot of strides is Terry Wilson. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm so excited to see what he does this year.
Yeah, I mean, touchdown Terry.
Yeah.
Comes in first year, wins 10 games, obviously had some help, but it's exciting, especially another year under his belt. He looks bigger, he looks stronger, he looks like if he is going to run, that he can take the impact from those runs. So I'm excited to see him develop in the passing game as well.
So they talked about, some of the coaches talked, 30, 40 passes a game. I don't know that is exactly what happens, because we do have such a good line that you can run. And I think A.J. Rose is going to be, he's going to slide right into where Benny left off. He's different, but I think he'll be just as effective.
I think he's going to be really effective. Again, you look at that offensive line, and then you look at who's behind him. He won't have to take as many carries so he can save his body. He's more of a slasher, quick, get up the field, get it and go. And then you look at Kavosiey Smoke, who's a mix of that and Chris Rodriguez. But at the same time, AJ can have a huge year. I think he's finally ready to take the reins, and he's excited. You see him out there running. He's had a good spring, a good camp, and I can't wait to see what he's going to do this Saturday and this season.
Now, Mr. Everything, of course, is Lynn Bowden, right? He touches the ball, you think he could score every time. The only concern I have is he's returning kicks and punts, and I just worry about him taking on too much of the workload, right? Because we need him at receiver.
I think we take it all the way back. This is me to Derek Abney. You know, he did the same thing.
Yeah.
And if he
What did
stays,
he do? Set an NCAA record or something?
I mean, some things like that. You know, right? And he was one of the hardest workers out there, which I've heard that about Lynn. He was always, you know, leading the guys in his group and the wide receivers. He was always getting people motivated. I've heard that about Lynn. So if he can stay healthy, I think he's going to put on a show.
I mean, Mel Kiper talked about him being a potential first-round pick as well.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. I see that in him all over the field. And also with returning kicks and punts, he's just going to pick his number. When he feels ready to go out there and make a play, he'll go out there, but he's not going to be out there every punt and every kickoff. So I don't think that's too much to worry about.
Okay, speaking of specialists, we gotta ask. Chance Poore came in with a lot of hype around him. You were very honest last year that maybe he wasn't, you know, totally ready for everything. He kicked a 56-yarder the other day. How do you see Chance's development?
I think Chance, you know, he's attacked the offseason the right way. It's just, as in the kicker position, he was lucky that he got some experience because there's no simulation in practice of a game as a kicker because there's just so much more pressure. So it will be interesting to see how he does against Toledo. Toledo ranks very high in blocked field goals and kicks. So I know Chance did get one blocked last year in his few games, but that'll give him some confidence if he can just get some easy ones, split the uprights, and just a big thing, like I said, keep the confidence up going into these bigger games because we want him to be ready against a team like Florida where it's going to be a close scoring game.
What is that like?
It's what you practice for, you know? It's like you're a sniper, one shot, one kill, and you don't practice as hard as these guys, but everyone knows who you are and they know whether it goes in or out because of the refs. So
yeah, the refs tend to let you know.
That's their job.
One position that I think that we can all agree the secondary is probably the biggest weakness on the field, and mostly because it's just unknown, right? We had 4 guys leave to go play professional football. So I just don't know these guys. They're so young. You've seen some of them up close. Do you like the young talent that we've got there?
I like the young talent a lot. I think it could be to our advantage because no one knows about them. Now, the scary part is where everyone says, well, you're going from corners that were 6'3", 6'4", to 6'1", 6 foot, 5'11", 5'10", 5'9", where they've been working all summer and spring. They know what the challenges, they know guys are going to test them. I'm not going to be surprised if Toledo comes out and runs a play action and tests our young corners out. But I think they'll be fine. I think it's their chance to show, like, hey, I deserve to be here. I know I can play in this league, and I'm going to show it to you. It's a prove-it year for all our secondary, especially with Devontae Robinson going down. Someone has to step up. The only person with experience coming back really is Jordan Griffin. Everyone else is new.
Yeah.
Now it's, okay, we recruited you. Here's your scholarship. Now show us what you can do. Shut everybody out that has doubted us since you got here.
Real quick, I know Terry and Lynn Bowden, you know, are kind of the faces, but really, truly, to me, it's Cash Daniel is the face of this team.
That's my boy.
Is he going to be on the field on third downs, third and long?
I hope so.
Yeah?
I hope so because he is exciting to watch. I think the one thing that hampered him last year, he was letting some people get behind him. He couldn't quite keep up with the speed. This year he's looking more and more fit. I hope his speed catches up too, because if he's out there, he is usually a force to be reckoned with. And if he gets anywhere near the play, he's going to help you out.
Absolutely.
And he's from Eastern Kentucky.
Yeah. Pride of Paintsville.
Hey, well, he's close. He's close.
Not only does he help you on the field, but he's the best marketer that we've ever had in the history of Kentucky
hands
football.
down.
Oh my gosh, he's incredible.
He's a celebrity.
It's amazing. All right, coming up next, we're going to break down the schedule. It's a favorable one for Kentucky. We'll find out what games we think they're going to win, which ones they might have a tough time with. That's next on Hey Kentucky's preview of the 2019 Kentucky football season. Welcome back to this special edition of Hey Kentucky as we are getting you ready for the 2019 UK football season, which starts this Saturday. I'm joined by 3 former Wildcat greats, Jeremy Cottle, Austin McGinnis, Ricky Lumpkin, and now we're going to break down this schedule. It starts Saturday at high noon. Toledo comes to town. Do not sleep on Toledo.
No, they're a team that's used to winning games, and they come hungry. Kentucky is their biggest game on their schedule, so they've had it circled all offseason, and we got to be ready for their best shot.
I think we're all going win, though, on Toledo,
Have
right?
to. You have to.
Yeah,
you have to.
we're going win.
And take the over. Yeah.
If, just for fun.
Yeah. Just so you can
Not
see
with
who's
real
right.
money.
No, see who's right and wrong,
Okay. Eastern Michigan. I think we're all probably going W on that.
Yes, absolutely.
Then what could be maybe the biggest game of the season. It's already sold out. Florida comes to town.
Bring it. What else do you say? I mean, it's going to be crazy. It's sold out. People are talking about it. I hear people on the streets talking about it. I hear people, people in the media talking about it. It is going to be one of those atmospheres that you're going to be glad you were there for.
How important is it to win that game?
I think it's a program changer, truthfully. I think you get them here, you beat Florida 2 years in a row, and it can set you up for a great season. You know what they're going to do. You know they're going to come in hungry. You just ended the streak at Florida. You didn't do it in Lexington. You did it at Florida, especially the way it ended. And you know they're going to be playing Cash's celebration, and it's probably all over the locker room, but who cares? Bring it.
And I'll be honest, they didn't wow me against Miami this weekend. I know it's the first game of the season, but there was nothing that scared me about Florida. Okay, then we're at Mississippi State and at South Carolina. Both places are tough to play. We were talking about this before, and South Carolina may be the hardest place to play.
Yeah, well, I also think Mississippi State's, hard to play just because it's unfair that they can just move their wrist and create that much sound. Being in the stands last year, I'm yelling so loud, I'm getting tired yelling. So that's a tough place to go down there and win, but we have a mature football team, and that's what it takes to go on the road and win in the SEC.
And then South Carolina, they've lost to us 5 straight times. I don't know why everyone keeps picking them over Kentucky, but I think this might be the year that streak gets snapped.
Yeah, I was talking with Ricky before this, and he's got the same kind of thoughts, but I think they've got that one. Mississippi State worries me more. I think it's a tougher trip on the team as a whole, the whole coordination of the travel and everything where you stay. And with South Carolina, I don't know. I think we've found their number the last few years, and I think we stay with it.
Because there's nothing in Starkville, right?
There's
where
nothing.
do you play?
Yeah, there is nothing.
Farm.
Football field, farm.
The hotel
And a
room
few
is not nice.
And a few cowbells.
Exactly.
Then we come home, right? And it's Arkansas. Arkansas is not very good or expected to be all that good, and that is the game that we are honoring number 22.
Chalk
Jared
it up.
Lorenzen.
It's a win for the big guy.
Got to, right?
Big win.
There's no chance.
Done.
And it's homecoming. But there's just no way I think we lose to Arkansas. We're all in agreement there.
100%.
Yep. All right. Good. Moving on. At Georgia. That one's tough.
That's going to be a tough one. That's going to be a tough one. You're at Georgia. I think
that's a team that's going to compete to play for the
they're
national
going to be
championship.
competing for the national championship. They're competing to win it all. I don't see that one yet. I still think we're one step behind them. Now, can we go down there and win? Yes. But I just don't see it this year.
And then what I have as my most pivotal game of the year is when Missouri comes to town the following week. They're an okay team. They've got a quarterback that has played for a national championship in Kelly Bryant. And, of course, they got the untimed down and lost to Kentucky last year at home. So they're going to have a little bit of a revenge factor in that one.
Yeah, and that game's always close every year. It's never a blowout against Missouri. It always comes down to the fourth quarter. And so I agree, that's going to be a pivotal game. It's one of those games that you can't take for granted. We've had their number the past 4 years, but Missouri, Vanderbilt, and South Carolina is teams that we've beat, and they're stat boosters, boost your win column up, so you got to get a win at Missouri.
Tennessee, I think we get them this year because it's been too long since, and when we've got a better team, I think, than they do.
We do. It's at home. I think right now, unless something jumps out during the season that surprises me, I think we get that as a solid W.
And we beat UT Martin and Vandy. I'm saying we're going to win at Vandy. And then Louisville, last game of the season. Louisville's a dumpster fire. L's all the way down. We take that W, yes?
Yeah, them up the street are going to lose.
We take the W. I think it'll be closer than we expected, especially at that point in the season. I think that's what they're going to have to play for at the end of the season.
You're probably right. But I think Kentucky will have a lot on the line.
Oh, yeah.
All right, stay with us. Our Drew Franklin is going to catch up with the big dog, Vince Marrow, next when we return. Welcome back to Hey Kentucky as we preview the upcoming football season. Now, the reason Kentucky keeps getting better and better every year, they're recruiting really, really good guys. And a big reason for that is the big dog, Vince Marrow. So we sent our Drew Franklin out to catch up with him.
Hey Kentucky, I'm here with Vince Marrow, the tight ends coach, the recruiting coordinator, the associate head coach, the NFL liaison. What other titles am I forgetting?
The Grand Poobah.
The Grand Poobah. We talked to you before camp. Obviously, camp just ended, and now it's game week. We still expect an exciting offense ahead?
Yes, we've been hitting each other for, 5 weeks, and, now guys want to get and see some new blood, and, Toledo's going to be an opponent they're going to be ready coming in here. I went to school there, and I know what them guys are. I know how them guys are coaching them guys, and I know that staff want to come in here and make an example of being the SEC school.
What's the challenge going into week one? No matter the opponent, your guys maybe being too amped up, and remember, they just got to stick to playing the football you all have worked on for the last month.
Yeah, I think that, and then we got a lot of young guys filling in. So, when we was going into our first game last year, we had a lot of guys that were veterans. So now we got in the key spots, the guys is going to be, the main center of that position. So, they amped up. You can see them out here. Yesterday was our first week. They knew it was their first actual week before the game, before we play Saturday, and they was running around here like little kids in a candy store. So we got to get the young guys toned down. They got a lot of talent, but we got to get them toned down when they go in that stadium, see all that blue and the fans rocking. They got to be ready to go.
So you created one of the biggest storylines going into this season with the Justin Riggs, C.J. Conrad comment you've made a couple times. Just going to ask you again, we still expecting big things from Riggs?
Justin has the potential to be better than C.J. Conrad. He's just what you look in the tight end, you want 6'6", 260, soft hands. He can block at the point of attack. But people seem to think that this is Justin's first year playing. Justin has played in some big games the last 2 years. Yes, but he hadn't played on the road when we beat South Carolina down there. He hadn't played in every game the last 2 years. It's just CJ was a starter. I'm very confident what Justin's going to do.
So we have high hopes for Justin. Even Keaton Upshaw is supposed to be doing good things. Everybody knows Lynn Bowden and Terry Wilson. Rose looks to be doing well. Give me a name from the offense that people aren't really saying where you can see them making some big plays for you.
6'6", Ahmad Wagner. I think Ahmad's he's going to do some things. And I think also on the line, our line don't get enough credit, but the Drake Jackson, Stenberg, Landon. But I think Darian Kennard and Luke Fortner, that's going to be a good thing. But I think Ahmad Wagner, and I'll say, people talk about Josh Ali, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Josh Ali. And I'm interested to see the two running backs in back of AJ. I think AJ's going to be AJ. We've seen him play. But just watching Smoke and Chris Rodriguez, sometimes I catch myself thinking Chris is Benny sometimes when I'm back there. So I'm excited to see them. But I think Ahmad is what we've been waiting for. I think people are going to see.
Well, do you still have that play in the playbook where you just throw it to him and he gets a pass interference like he did in Missouri? Because that play seems to work every time.
Come on, man, Drew, that's a secret now. But, everybody has seen it. But, no, I think Ahmad is more of a true receiver now. So you got to be ready for him to run slants and do all kind of things. But, of course, we're going to throw it up to him because, that's what he's a big guy. But we got another big guy to do that, too. We got some big tight ends, 6'6", 6'7". So it's going to be very interesting. I'm interested to see and excited to see these young guys play.
Sounds like we're going to have a fun offense to watch. I know all of you are tired of just having to talk to people like us. It's finally here. Good luck Saturday and with the rest of the season.
Hey, man, I'm going to close off with this.
Oh.
I thought I was a great recruiter, but I see you just signed a 5-star young lady.
I did.
It would be inappropriate, but I still may try to flip her, though,
Okay.
just make sure she don't do it. But I think you'll get recruited, though.
Yeah, I proposed. My fiance's from Ohio. I told him I took his recruiting philosophy, went north of the border for some talent. So thank you for showing me the way.
All right, coming up next, it's Put Up or Shut Up. We will give you our predictions for the upcoming football season as Hey Kentucky continues. Welcome back to Hey Kentucky. Time to give you our predictions. Let's start with you, Jeremy.
I've got to listen to my boy Zach Tarter. I'm going to go 8-4.
8-4. I'm also going to go 8-4. I think we lose to Florida, Mississippi State, South Carolina, and Georgia, and that's it.
I have us at 10-2.
Woo, Austin.
I think we struggle with the explosiveness of Florida and also Georgia, but I think we sweep the rest and we have another fantastic season.
Yeah, I'll take it. Ricky?
I'm going to say 8-4. I got us losing to Mississippi State. I think USC is finally going to get a win against us. Not ready for Georgia and Missouri. I think Kelly Bryant's going to have a good game.
All right. Well, I think we'll all take 8-4 if that's what it ends up being. Definitely 10-2.
I'm with him.
All right.
I'm with him.
Thanks for joining us for the special edition of Hey Kentucky. Go Cats. It's game day on Saturday. Let's do this. Bring it.